Okay.
Okay, so the second game has actually started. It's on Daybreak. I believe we'll go into that shortly here, I think.
Yeah, no, we're in it. We were supposed to run a commercial, but of course, Greg and I still have some things to learn. But you know what? We're going to be here all freaking day. This is going to be
We have a lot of time to learn about it.
We have a long time. We have a long time. There's a lot of WCS to be played. And for you guys at home, we didn't really cover this. We want to do this. We'll tell you now. We're basically going to nitpick the best matches we feel from each round, and we're going to cast 2 or 3 of them. And of course, as we get closer to the finals, more of those matches will be played, so it's not going to be just our selection. But there's going to be a lot of games to watch, and there's a lot of great players here. Really excited.
And it will be relatively fluid. If there's a match going on that you really want us to cast, when one of our matches ends, we can actually just drop right into.
That's a good point.
Even if they've already played one of the first games of it. So if there's something we want to see, just tweet at us about that, and we'll see if we can make it happen. We are now into the second game here. It is on Daybreak. LGN Kane as the red Zerg in the top right, and DDE as the blue Terran in the bottom left. Again, an early drone scout. Kane, these players play each other a ton on ladder. Kane knows that he really likes the proxy racks, so he's very paranoid about that. And unfortunately, this 14 command center does actually get down, even though that drone's there. It could have blocked it.
Is it safe to call Daybreak a pretty big proxy racks map as well?
For some people, it is. A lot of people actually don't like it. I'm not sure why. There's a ton of great proxy locations that can be taken advantage of, but more often than not, it just kind of doesn't happen.
I feel like the long travel path between the two mains also, it either coerces someone into thinking that they're really safe, so they do a greedier macro or like a hatch, which is sometimes an instigation for the double proxy. But in this case, it's not going to be it. We do have DD dropping down that command center first, which is not what he did last time. It was just kind of the safer one racks expand. This time around, he's wanting to get that command center out faster. I do anticipate we'll still see a Hellion opening as the double gas does go down now.
Yep.
Be very interested to see if he does the Queen Hellion variation, or not the Queen, excuse me, the Banshee Hellion variation.
It could be. That is another build that he really likes. Hellion Marauder, I think that might actually be his go-to build. I see him do it more often than not. He actually feels comfortable, as we saw last game, just transitioning out of it. Even if the Zerg opponent is relatively prepared, he doesn't really feel it's an all-in that has to be a surprise. So we could see that again, but this is not a good map for it. It's way too long. Very, very long rush distance. Hellion Banshee is a good option, and then just regular greedy play is also an option.
You know, I hate to nitpick, but I just feel like, especially for a guy that does that build a lot, I think he'd get so much more bang for his buck by just doing minimal spreading of the Marauders so that 8 Banelings don't. Like, they don't do a lot of damage to Marauders, but when they're hitting 4 or 5 Marauders at a time, that number starts to become a little bit closer to efficient.
Yeah. Well, honestly, part of that is because of Kane's miscontrol. He was detonating a lot of those Banelings on the Marauders. Normally, you're move commanding them past to chase down the Hellions. So DD was assuming that's what was going to happen and running away solely with the Hellions and doing a very good job of controlling those. But then at the same time, Kane just either consciously or not detonated on the Marauders because he realized he wasn't going to catch the Hellions. And so that's what made it look like DD was miscontrolling that.
That makes complete sense.
I think.
I mean, because even in that scenario, like, it's not. I still think even with 8 Banelings hitting something like 8 Marauders, it's probably still good for the Terran.
Yeah.
It'd just be more good if they're spread out, obviously. So I think what you just said.
And we actually have a double factory coming up here from DD, and he's going to make a reactor next to the second Hellion as well. So that's just going to be a ton of Hellions coming at Kane. And this is actually going to be so many Hellions that can kind of overwhelm you. Even if you have a building wall with a Queen in it, you can actually shoot down the Queen and then just run in anyway.
Well, I mean, a little bit about that, too. The last map we saw Kane was aware of the idea of using Evolution Chambers to block down and narrow the space. But on this map, you'll notice on Daybreak, Evolution Chambers got to put on a lot of weight to do the same job. They'd have to get so fat.
Yeah, on this map, I think you actually need 2 Spine Crawlers. You need 1 Evo here, 1 Evo here, and then 2 Spine Crawlers in the center, and then 1 Queen. And then you have a full wall.
Okay.
That's a lot of holes. That's a lot of distance to cover. If you actually put 3 Queens in there, then you can do it with the regular 3 buildings. But 3 Queens, that's a pretty big investment just for your wall in. It does have them here. A big thing to look at here is actually how many creep tumors he drops, if he'll have a transfuse on these 2 Queens or not.
Yeah.
If he has a transfuse, that's a big, big deal versus Hellions, because they don't deal damage very quickly. And we actually have an Overlord Scout coming in here from Kane. Not sure what he's going to see. He will see the first factory. 2 Marines come over. DD very good about denying scouting, but that might get into the range of the second factory. And if he sees that, that's absolutely huge.
He's going to see it. Hellions. There's the reactor. And he does. Oh, it's
he sees a barracks on the reactor.
He's hiding it. Look at that. A little bit of mind games. DD, you're so clever.
Yep, and that did die. And he immediately switches his back. That was purely a mind game. That was purely to trick Kane into thinking that it was a very normal Marine Hellion build. So at this point, Kane does not for sure know. He may have seen something interesting there. He may have seen something unusual, but he's not preparing for it at all. So it looks like it will still be an absolute surprise for him.
Now, meanwhile, we do have Hellions harassing this very fast third. A lot of creep tumors are down. And it's not, I mean, typically a lot of Hellions can threaten a hatchery, but usually this is 4 queens. They're going to hold that off. The big question will be, DD's already shown a pretty good number of Hellions. This is 8 joined by 2 more for 10, or 9 actually. That's a lot of Hellions. Do you start to react now, or do you think that it's just one reactor?
Seeing this, Kane knows something's up. You normally only go up to 6. Before he saw 6, so he wasn't responding. Now he sees, that's 9.
Yeah,
he sees 9. He knows something's up, but he's still not putting down any spine crawlers or Hellion walls. He thinks this is, I think he thinks this is just a normally continued 1 reactor Hellion. I don't think he knows it's 2 Rex yet, but he is producing a ton of speedlings, a ton of circling. Speed is about to finish, but the Hellions come in now. The speed has not finished yet. There are a couple of banelings out there that will force DD to micro around, buy Kane some time.
He has no spine crawlers, and
no,
he's actually not even adding more queens. If he's recognized what's happening, I have to say I feel like this is a very underwhelming response.
He actually he's producing 9 drones right now. I feel like he does not know. And another 7 Hellions coming out to join this army. 2 more that DD just kind of forgot about. So he's now up to, he actually has 18 Hellions out on the field against circling Baneling. That's not good for Kane. We see a huge surround here, and it just doesn't matter at all. They all evaporate.
I got to say, unfortunately for Kane, I think he's about to test out that loser bracket, because right now he is getting everything ran down by a pack of Hellions. They're the natural predators of Zerglings and Banelings, and that's what the Zerg has right now. His queens are getting isolated. Drones standing nearby because they want to join in and bask in the sunlight that is the flamethrower of the Hellions. Zerglings are just not effective here.
Really, really good control by DD there. He actually targeted down the high mana queen, so he did not have it transfused. And these Zerglings just keep getting in and getting surrounds, but they just die anyway. It doesn't really matter when you have that many Hellions. He has kind of whittled the count down, and he has a lot of Zergling production coming. There's a pretty good economy behind this. Those aren't Blue Flame Hellions or anything.
Yeah.
If he gets 1 more good surround, that's actually down to the point where those Hellions could die. And he's really whittling this down quite well, given how underprepared he was.
And this time around, he does have decent drone saturation, even at his 3rd. So if he does hold it off, he won't be in bad shape. But DD has just now found 4 Hellions in the couch. You know, when you find like a $25 bill in there? Yeah, $25 bill. Some country has to go with it. And
they have that in Canada, I'm sure.
They probably don't either, though.
Oh,
good surround here, though. The Zerglings are getting good
huge
impact. Still a lot of Hellions here. And, I mean, we talk about the Hellions getting whittled down, but so is the Zerg. He's running out of units. He's got to be very careful. And I do...
another huge surround. And he kills almost all the Hellions. This aggression has to stop from DDE here. He needs to run these Hellions into the main, get some drone kills, and then just pull back and change his mind about what he's going to do with the rest of this game.
I do think that is what's happening. We still see a trickle of Hellions coming out of these reactors.
He is actually still producing 4 Hellions at a time.
Something kind of interesting, he built his 3rd command center in a spot that is where the only relevant Overlord can actually see it. I think that's a little bit odd.
It's not entirely standard to have an Overlord there. Usually you'll have it checking on the gases, and then you'll have one down here that you sacrifice. But yeah, that is
just bad
little bit weird, I guess. But at this point, Kane probably could assume that there's going to be a 3rd base anyway. More Hellions coming out, and we can see back at DD's base, he has actually gone up to getting a 5th factory. He has +1 weapons upgrade going for his mech units, so he will be going a full-on mech build.
Wow.
And now getting the Blue Hellion upgrade as well for his Hellions.
He's going Zerg mech. He's double expanding and going mech at the same time.
Yeah. Wow, that is...
And you know what? I'm going to do it again, Greg. I'm going to put my monocle on. I'm going to get all critical. He dropped the orbital command in the middle of the map, and he's building a new one in the back. I think he should build the new one in the front so he can make it a planetary.
I don't know. Mech is good enough defensively that a lot of the times you can just set up here and be unkillable anyway. So having a planetary back here makes it easier to deal with counterattacks and harass.
All your knowledge, Greg.
It just depends on how defensive you want to be.
Yeah.
But DD at this point, he's actually going Thor Hellion. He's not making tanks or anything. Thor Hellion is like the aggressive mech. That's where you attack with it.
Yeah.
It's not as good sat in a defensive position. So it could still be a mistake. Your monocle still could be accurate.
You're such a good friend. Okay, the 2nd armory is being built right now, so it will be a well-upgraded mech army. I think that's pretty essential.
Yeah.
Off that 1st armory, it is going to be attack upgrade. Sometimes you see armor, especially when you go with Thor, but this is DD attack style. And we do have that mid-game Baneling formation going on this lower left. Well, it's not left, it's kind of dead center, but...
Oh, but the Hellions actually find it. They kill a bunch of Zerglings, but huge
the
fungal there. And Blue Flame is just now about to finish. Immediately, they die, and then Blue Flame finishes. That's absolutely terrible for DD.
Greg, Thors are good, but not this good. Blue Flame does finish, but that mineral line's getting compromised.
All those are going to Oh, the SCVs do. A lot of them die, but a lot of them run away as well. And that Thor absorbing all of the Baneling hits and just now dying to the last couple of Zerglings, but that was not efficient at all. Kane really needs to work on his Baneling control in some of these engagements.
And the Orbital is going to get picked up here. Infestors are coming across. If you look at the string of red coming across the map, Kane is basically saying, in control. You talked about me in the loser bracket, son. You couldn't be more wrong than this. And it's starting to look like we might have a Zerg victory. Infested Terrans walking across the map. A well-placed bunker is thinning out the Zergling count, and the Infestors are losing their energy, but does the Terran have enough?
I don't know. That one bunker, that actually helps a lot. It's going to be really hard to take that down with all the SCVs repairing.
MVP bunker.
Yep. That's actually taking almost no damage at all. All the Infestors are dying or they're out of range. So, I don't know what...
He's fine.
Well, if we look at the workers' loss cap, 22 for Kane and only 7. He only lost 7 SCVs in that attack.
What the hell?
I thought the Zerglings killed all of the SCVs there. I don't really... He only lost 7 there. That's incredible.
And with the Planetary Fortress on the left side, especially with the Infestors running on pretty low energy, I do feel like the Terran player is about to enjoy 3-base economy at an unruly time. I don't think he's... I was about to say earned, but he has earned it.
Five Ultralists coming from Kane, as well as the Neuroparasite upgrade about to finish, which is absolutely great versus Thors. As soon as those Infestors have enough mana for Neuroparasite, he's going to be able to go in and just kind of kill them. 7
drones are coming out. I mean, I'll tell you what, Kane is basically hedging his bets, though. If you look across the board, his economy is not so super powerful. He's really hoping that he does a lot of damage here. They're trying to get us surrounded that Planetary Fortress. Repair is going down.
I really don't like that attack by Kane.
Pre-Ultralist, pre a lot of these upgrades, doesn't make a lot of sense, and he's not going to get the Planetary.
No. He burned a lot of Infestor mana. He might get some SCV kills. He does get some SCV kills out of it, but he wasted so many units and so much Infestor mana.
They can get ran down, actually, Greg. There's not a whole lot of reinforcements here, and even if they don't get ran down, they're going to expel a lot of energy trying to save their own lives, which is not the way you want to use those. No,
he really wants to hold on to those Neuroparasites in order to take care of the Thors when these Ultras do come in. And now that he has wasted most of his support units, now the Ultras join up the Thors. If he had attacked now, it would be in perfect shape. Also, a really, really intelligent Hellion counter here by DD. He's going to catch Kane before these Spine Crawlers get up. Going to kill everything down here. But at the same time, a bunch of Ultras coming in. They catch the Thors out in the center of the map.
Bad control.
Yeah, I mean, that was on move command.
He's doing a 1v1 with one of the Ultras. He doesn't have any Zerglings here. The Infestors are on low energy. Like, this attack could be good, but it could also be disastrous. I want to say that.
A bunch of Zerglings streaming in. Oh, they catch one Thor out in the center of the map. I don't know why he's there, but they actually just ignore it. They allow him to live. Those are very, very generous Zerglings.
There's a minor mech counter going on right now, though, as well. I think this Planetary is doomed. All the SCVs are getting fungled. They're going to die. I mean, right now we have a couple of Thors and Hellions roasting absolutely everything of the Zerg players.
Every drone at the third base dies.
There's chaos.
And a couple of Thors are actually killing this. Those are harassment Thors. They are going to take down that hatchery.
He's in his main. He's gonna fight this in like a 300 stand, man.
Yeah, breaking through this is actually incredibly difficult for for the Zerg. He needs to cast a ton of Infested Terrans up here on Neuroparasite, all the Thors. There's no way to actually break through that with Repair and those Hellions behind it. And I don't think he's actually going to be able to break through, and he's just lost his entire economy behind it. The 4th hatchery has died. His Hellions are still down here.
I was about to be super excited about what DD is doing because I think it's a brilliant move, but actually Kane's responding in kind. I really like what he's doing. He gave up the 3rd, but he didn't give it up. He held it with a couple of Ultralists. And because the Thors are so slow moving, he knew he could just wait. He doesn't have to try to go up that ramp. This is not a base trade situation. It's 3 base Zerg versus 1 base Terran. He knows he's okay.
Despite that Hellion run by, it is 60 Harvesters to 27 for Kane.
Yeah.
So this is not nearly as dire for him as we kind of thought it was when those Hellions were in there roasting all the drones.
And now a Greater Spire coming out too.
Greater Spire, that's a great way to break a Turtle Terran. DD at this point is going to be forced to just kind of sit back. Actually, he has enough. DD is a very aggressive player. He will attack when you don't really expect him to. He could move out and try and do a Thor Hellion timing. I don't see that being particularly effective. I don't see anything being super effective for him at this point, really.
I think he knows that if he attacks, he's basically saying, take my main base, but hold that thought. A little bit of a string of Zerg comes in here at the natural. They don't want. Oh, he's going to go for it anyways. Maybe with Neural Parasite, he actually might be able to win this fight. It's going to come down to that. He's pushing forward. There's 1 Neural Parasite. There's 2 Neural Parasites.
3 Neural Parasites. 4. He's actually taken out almost all of the Thors. Yes, it is. And it turns out Thor Ultra is pretty good against Thor.
Thor Ultra is pretty good. And now he's targeting down the last of those Thors, but they have come alive. There's secrets that the Terran army knows about, and it's just not going to be enough. The Ultras are clamping down and destroying those Thors. Professor Terran's cleaning up the job as well. And the big thing here is it's 160 supply versus 50 Terran.
Yeah, we see Kane's just cleaning up everything now. A bunch more units in production for him. He's not taking another base, but it doesn't really matter. He doesn't need to. DD just has no income, no units, no nothing left.
And the Command Center's floating in the air, just kind of burning. The Spinal Thor does go down. The Infested Terrans trading their temporary lives for that of the Precious Thor. We do have
and a bunch more Infestors actually join the battle.
Yeah.
They have a lot of mana there. He can actually scale them off with Infested Terrans now.
It's a good army from the Zerg player. I mean,
it
that's
is.
it.
DD GG's.
Gets all tied up, and Greg, it's so loud here.
It is.
The power of Monster to get through this.
I could not hear you if I did not have the Monster.
So,
that is how Monster works.
We're going to go to a commercial while Greg and I chug a Monster so that we can get through this. It's so loud. Canada is delivering. It's awesome. But right now we're going to do a commercial. When we're back, it's going to be Game 3 between Kane and DDE. Don't want to miss it. We'll see you soon.